Hey everyone, I'm Brigette from Bougie, Texas BBQ, and today I'm going to show you how to hang some spare ribs on Oklahoma Joe's Bronco. I hope y'all are excited because I definitely am, so let's get into it. Okay guys, so the very first step I'm going to do is preheat my Oklahoma Joe's Bronco to 250 degrees. Now, fuel is definitely important, so I'm using Oklahoma Joe's all-natural, non-filler charcoal briquettes. So the next thing I want to kind of touch bases on is the wood you're going to use during this cook. I'm going to use hickory wood. Now, I do see some of y'all's comments where y'all saying that hickory wood is just too strong for y'all, but when you taste someone else's barbecue or go to your favorite barbecue spot, you love the way the hickory wood is just infused in the meat. So I'm just going to tell y'all who are still on your barbecue journey and who don't know this, your fire is not burning clean enough. So your smoke should be basically transparent when you are smoking. Wood chunks and wood splits take a little longer to burn cleaner. So for the beginners out there, I recommend using wood chips if you're still having trouble managing your fire, and you're gonna have less temp spikes, which will freak you out less if you're just constantly watching your temperatures. Now, charcoal usually takes about 20 to 25 minutes to fully light, so I'm gonna open the lid up, and if you're using a Bronco, make sure you push your charcoal basket all the way in because you don't want it to burn any of that insulation. Okay, off to the next step. Let's talk about our ribs. Today I am going to smoke these St. Louis style spare ribs. You can see that these are already seasoned. I didn't use a rub that was really high in sugar, and I don't recommend you using a very high sugar rub. What's going to happen is the sugar is going to over caramelize, not only darken your ribs too much, but it will have an end result of a bitter bite, which is something we do not want. So use either just salt and pepper or a low sugar rub. Now let's talk about the placement of your butcher hook to hang your ribs. I recommend the second or third bone. That way your rib is far enough from the fire to cook evenly. On that note, if you have a side that's thicker, make sure that one is closest to the fire and you're inserting your hook on the thinner side of the rib. By the time you're done prepping your ribs, your Bronco should be up to temperature. So we are going to remove the main grate. There is a hook on the back of the Bronco. If you were not aware, it is there to hang your grate. And now we can just add our hanging hooks. Now all the hooks, even the butcher hooks, are included when you buy the Bronco. Just in case you're interested in upgrading your smoking experience, the Bronco is definitely an affordable grill / smoker. On that note, I did read some of y'all's comments on how you want the Bronco, but it doesn't seem like it has a lot of cooking space. As a consumer myself, I think there's just too much focus on the initial grate that comes on the Bronco that you forget that you can smoke meat while it's hanging. I'm only smoking 2 racks of ribs today, but honestly, I feel like I can fit 7 to 8 if I choose to hang them. And it doesn't have to just stop at ribs. You can hang chicken, you can hang beef ribs, you can hang a thick steak. There are so many options when you choose to hang versus just place a slab of meat on the grate. Okay, let's get back to the cook. We're going to treat these ribs just like any ordinary rib cook. So I'm going to check on them about 90 minutes to 2 hours in. That's usually when I begin to spritz. And honestly, it was almost 2 hours in and my ribs were the exact mahogany color I was looking for. So it's time to pull them off and wrap. So let's talk about what we're going to need to wrap our ribs. 2 pieces of heavy duty foil, butter, honey, and brown sugar. So don't worry, you'll still get a sweet rib if you use a no sugar rub. We're just going to add it a little bit later because we don't want the ribs to over caramelize and get too dark. Place 1 layer of butter, brown sugar, and honey before you place your rib face down. I personally like my ribs to have like a candy apple red color, so this is usually the color I pull them off and wrap them. This is how I want my bark set. Now we're going to repeat the butter, brown sugar, and honey before we wrap them nice and tight. Now, I do recommend using heavy duty aluminum foil because your rib bone might puncture the foil if you just use traditional. And you don't even have to use foil. You can honestly use butcher paper as well. It's just a personal preference. I like to save the rib au jus that comes from this wrap. So that's why I prefer to use foil, because I save it. You might lose it if you use butcher paper. Okay, so these ribs are officially ready to get back into the smoker to finish cooking. I'm gonna remove the hanging hooks, replace the original grate, and place my ribs face down at 250 degrees until they are probed tender. So the remaining cook time can range anywhere for another hour to 2 hours. So I recommend probing every hour. The internal temp can range anywhere from 197 to 200. If you venture closer to 203, you're risking your bones to literally fall off. If that's what you're looking for, it's 100% up to you when you want to actually pull your ribs off. This is exactly what I'm looking for when I want to pull my ribs off. You can see the bones are still intact and they didn't fall off. If you prefer a sauced, sticky rib, you can place these ribs back onto the smoker and sauce them and cook for another 15 to 20 minutes. Just make sure not to overcook and make sure you rest them for 30 minutes before slicing. And these were my results. I didn't sauce these ribs. What I did is I pulled them out of the foil wrap and basically let them rest in their own au jus. As I slice into these ribs, they feel tender and I can see the juices coming out, and the bones still remained intact, resulting in a perfectly rendered rib. Super excited how these came out. But just note that these ribs are still tender enough to softly remove the bones from the actual rack. Now, how you enjoy these ribs is 100% up to you, whether it's traditional or non-traditional. Don't forget to check out the full recipe down below. Till next time, guys, enjoy.